Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B, and I'm back with another video. I hope you guys had a great holiday season. For those of you who are into the holidays and celebrate that, for those of you who are starting off with this January as the new year, just wishing you all a great fresh start for that. I personally do not start my new year on January 1st. I started with the Aries season, which is when the sun and the new moon are in Aries. So that's when I look to start my new year personally, but I know everybody follows something different and I respect that. So for those of you who do something different, that's okay too, okay? So I hope you are, deep into your planning and to getting your goals and everything else off the ground for your new year. I have a couple of quick announcements before I jump into today's video. The first is that this video is the last of what we are calling the weekly astrology reports. So I'm going to be moving the weekly reports to a monthly format to follow a particular zodiac sign through the entire season. So this will be the last one, and then we will go into the next season, which is the Aquarius season, and that will cover all of the weeks of the sun being in Aquarius and everything that's going to be happening during Aquarius season, and so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that this new format will allow me or free up some extra time so that I can work on other content, other things that I'd like to put out there, just freeing up some more time to do other things. So that is announcement number one. The second announcement is that after many requests, I have finally freed up some space on my calendar to do natal chart consultations. So I have a limited number of slots available on a monthly basis. I'm going to be doing them weekly. And basically, if you have questions about your natal chart and you want to dive into decoding it, I will do a live one-on-one consultation with you that helps you answer some of your most burning questions. So I know that this has been a long time coming. I know that many of you have asked for this many times over. So it's finally here. I'm going to leave the link down in the description box so that you can, purchase that service if you are interested in it, okay? And the third announcement that I'm going to make is around the products. So I know I've been getting questions like, how come you haven't been mentioning anything about your teas or any of your oils or any of your products on your last videos? And I'm just like, I am to capacity. Like, I am stretched to capacity, and I felt like I was having to do it all at one time, and then I realized that that's not a really good strategy. So I just had to pick and choose the things that I needed to concentrate on at a particular time. So the teas and the oils are still here. The shop is still alive and well and still going. If you want to get your hands on teas or herbs, certain things for a particular season, I do recommend that you order ahead of time. I only have a limited amount of products in stock, and those teas, if you're not a tea drinker, these are natural herbs, okay? Yes, I market them as teas, but you can use them a multitude of ways, okay? You can use them in your rituals, in your magic, in your candle jars. You can use them to burn as incense. You can use them in your baths. You can use them in a multitude of ways because they're just herbs, right? And they correspond to the season. So not just with your full moon or your new moon ritual, you can use it through the entire season. So if you want to get your hands on some herbs and some oils, and I'm telling you the effect that it has on, when you're doing your work and as you're working with these energies, the boost that it gives you, because these herbs correspond with the different planetary energies, okay? So they really help to kind of put the whole thing together and to give you that boost and that push that you need. So I always recommend, even if you don't buy my products, you know, working with herbs and crystals and natural elements of the earth. And that's why I mention them in my videos, okay? So that is it for my announcements. Let's get into this last weekly astrology report. And this is actually not even going to be a weekly one. This is going to be a 2-week one. So this is going to take us through the rest of Capricorn season, because we're about halfway through Capricorn season right now. So, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and cover the next 2 weeks, close out Capricorn season so that we can be fresh and ready to start the full month of the Aquarius season in that video. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that I want to mention at the top of the week, the energy that is very prevalent right now and that you probably are feeling. It's not a major thing that's happening, but I know a lot of people are feeling it, so I want to go ahead and mention it. And it's that the sun is sextiling Neptune. What does that mean? Our sun, which is currently in the sign of Capricorn, Neptune, which is currently in Pisces and has been in Pisces for a long time and will be in Pisces for a long time, is really what it's doing. It's increasing our sensitivity. So we may be feeling very sensitive to our environments, moods, emotions, all kinds of things. We are also, our intuition is heightened during this time. So this is a time where you can be getting lots of downloads, lots of revelations. Also, our dream work. This is a time where your dreams can be very powerful, very revealing. So if you're, you know, good with dreams and, you know, you want to get a dream journal, start writing everything down, or, you know, dive into your dream work even more. And this is also a heightened time of creativity. So you might be getting a lot of creative downloads and feeling surges of creativity. So all of that has to do with the sun trining Neptune. So I just wanted to mention that before I got into the meat, okay? So let's get into the meat and the potatoes and everything else. Even though I don't eat meat, we're just gonna use that as an analogy, all right? This week, we have Mars making another move. And I told you, when Mars moves, things happen. Always keep your eyes on Mars, okay? Mars is our energy, our drive, our ambition. Mars is the willpower, it's the go-get-em energy, right? What does this mean when Mars moves into Taurus? Now, Mars, if you know the energy of Mars, it is fast. If it wants to take action, it wants to go get 'em. Now, Taurus is more of, you know, a grounding energy. It's slow, it's patient, it's earth energy. It's just very, you know, take my time type of energy. So there's already a clashing that's happening there. We got Mars, who's impatient and wants to go, go, go. And Taurus is like, oh no, I want to take my time and I want to move slow. So there's a clash happening there. So Taurus energy is not really the best place for Mars to really express its full self, like how it does in Aries, right? So this transit's going to be happening from the 6th of January all the way up until March 3rd, all right? So this is energy, like I said, that is a little bit of a mishmash, a little bit of a clash, but it can be utilized or pushed in the right direction if you are looking in terms of using this energy for focusing on long-term goals. So instead of looking at the quick things that Mars wants to usually like focus on, the you know, just start all these little quick projects and you know, kind of get it moving and going and on to the next one. Instead of that, taking that energy and then taking that Taurus lens, which is more so focused on the long-term view, and putting the energy behind that so that you have more drive, determination, ambition, focus to execute those long-term visions and goals that you have, okay? So this is where this energy would be best utilized, okay? The downside to this energy, that it makes you kind of more stubborn and inflexible, so that you can get kind of rigid or stuck in one particular way and not wanting to bend or to, you know, adapt to, you know, to doing things a different type of way. The other thing about Mars being in Taurus is that who else is hanging out in Taurus? Uranus, okay? Uranus is in Taurus, and I talked all about Uranus and Taurus and that transit and what it means for 2021. If you missed that, I'm going to plug that video down in the description box or somewhere up here, because you really need to hear what the breakdown of this is happening. Now, Uranus is also in Taurus, which is shaking up our material world, our values, our resources, and our money. Okay, this collectively, this is what it's shaking up now. And it's been shaking up more on an internal level as it's been retrograde, but it's going to come out of retrograde, which I'll mention in a second. But this is definitely going to be shaking things up in these particular areas. Now with Mars now conjunct Uranus, because they're both in that, that in Taurus, so they're going to be blending their energies together, which means Mars is going to be taking its energy and lighting that fire under Uranus. Okay, so this is giving us high energy and quick, sudden changes in those areas that I mentioned about our money, our resources, our values, and collectively what that means and what that looks like, okay? A downfall or a downside to this energy is that it can create more of a rebellious nature, and it can create tension, especially when you're talking about Taurus is a sign or an energy that values high security. So when security is threatened, rebellion and the need to fight to be secure is something that can pop off really quickly with this blend of Mars and Uranus in Taurus. So just make sure that you also keep in mind that this is something that can crop up as well. Now, like I mentioned just a second ago, Uranus is going to be stationing direct on January 14th, which means that the external or the outward reflection of this is going to be very prevalent. Whereas when it was retrograde, and it's been retrograding, and it still is at the time of me, saying this, is that it was more of an internal reflection. Now it's going to be an external reflection, the collective views, you're going to see this more on a external view. So these are tangible things that we're going to see shaking up in our material world. So just be on the lookout. Things are about to move fast in terms of how things change and innovate, and the originality and the things that are going to come about in our material world are going to be very, very prevalent throughout 2021. The next thing is that Mars, okay, going back to Mars, is going to be squaring Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, okay? So the thing is, anything that's sitting in Taurus is going to be squaring anything that's in Aquarius. And what are the big heavy hitters in Aquarius? Jupiter and Saturn. We talked all about this in the 1221 video. We also talked about this in the 2021 predictions video. Jupiter and Saturn are really opening a new door for us, but anything that, is in Taurus is also going to be squaring and having tension with these two planets, okay? So what kind of energy is this bringing in? It's an impulsive energy and it's a restrictive energy, okay? So what we're having here is the initiative to take risk on new things, which is good, right? If it's calculated, and we'll get to that in a second. But we are facing a lot of restrictions from authority figures, which results in frustration, anger, and rebellion. And then remember when I just mentioned about, basically Mars being in Taurus, if that security, is feeling like it's threatened, there's a need to fight and get rebellious and get angry and start defending. So we want to keep all of this in mind. Now, we definitely want to keep our eyes on Mars. We want to keep our eyes definitely on everything that is going to be transiting through Aquarius, because in February, a lot of planets, we're going to have 6 planets in Aquarius, which means they're all going to be squaring Mars at some point or another, and they're all going to be squaring Uranus at some point or another. So that's a lot of tension. So we definitely want to, keep our eyes on February, and we'll get into that in the next astrology report where we dive into Aquarius season. Now, Speaking of Aquarius season, let's talk about Mercury, because on January 8th, we have Mercury, which is our thinking and our communications energy, moving into Aquarius, okay? Now, this is a great placement because Mercury is that air energy, right? It's all about thinking, how we process, how we communicate, all of that good stuff. And then we have Aquarius, which is an air energy, which is all about thinking, but more in terms of, new radical thoughts and progression and originality and invention and all that type of thing. So these are energies that work harmoniously together. So Mercury being here is actually a very good thing. Now, what this means for us is, again, innovative ideas and progressive thinking, okay? It's also going to be that Mercury, as it's entering into the sign of Aquarius, will be conjunct Jupiter and Saturn, because those two have just entered Aquarius not too long ago. So what this is going to give us is a boost in our new ideas. So this is also boosting up that energy and sharing those ideas, socializing with other people. And also it's going to be great for concentration because it's all about that, mental processing. So to get focused and to get concentrated, this is definitely the energy that is going to support that. Now, next week, Mercury will be squaring Uranus, which means it's going to be having tension. Okay, remember I told you anything that's in Taurus is going to be squaring anything that's in Aquarius and vice versa. So there's always going to be tension between Aquarius and Taurus this year, all right? So with Mercury entering Aquarius, we have now tension with Uranus, which means that it's going to further challenge our perspective and make us think a whole lot differently, okay? So our thinking is going to be pushed into in a new way to make us think and have a different perspective on things. But this can also lend itself to a miscommunication of ideas, all right? So just keep that in mind as well. Also happening on January 8th, let's talk about Venus, because Venus, which is our love, it's our beauty, it's our values, it's our creativity, it's our money, okay, is moving into Capricorn. So Venus has been in Sagittarius, where it was just in its freedom-loving state. It was just like, I'm free, I have no attachments, I'm living life, I'm spending, I'm feeling good, I'm being impulsive, doing whatever I want to do, and it feels good. Now, moving into Capricorn, the shift is now more cautious. See, it's a cautious type energy. It's cautious when it comes to love, cautious when it comes to spending. It's more of that self-control versus in Sagittarius, where there was very little control. It's just like, whatever, right? So the values here are going to be placed on things that provide security. So again, we're going back into that security energy, because Capricorn and Taurus are both earth signs and they're both security loving signs, okay? So this energy is focused more on practicality and responsibility, and that can give this expression more of a colder demeanor, okay? It's not so warm and fuzzy. It's more like, let's focus on what's important. Let's make sure we secure the bag. Let's make sure we're doing the things that make us safe and comfortable. So that is what this energy is bringing in. Now, Venus is also going to be trining, which is making a harmonious aspect with Mars and Uranus in Taurus, or Uranus in Taurus. Again, Capricorn and Taurus are, kind of brother and sister energy, right? Like they're in the same family, or sister and sister energy, I should say, because these are more feminine expressions of the energy. So these are sisters, they get along, they get each other, they vibe, okay? So there's a magnetism here with this energy that attracts unique individuals and unique opportunities to you, okay? So these are opportunities that can come both in your personal life, like in love, or in business, okay? Because again, we're talking about Venus, which also rules our money, okay? And these unexpected opportunities could be positive or negative, depending on how, you respond to them and the circumstances at hand, okay? Now, the next thing I'll be talking about is the new moon in Capricorn, and that's going to be happening next week. So we're going to jump a couple days forward. On January 13th, there's a new moon in Capricorn. Now, this is going to be that Capricorn energy is deep, right? We have a lot of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Taurus energy. So that is like the main focus for this report. But with this new moon in Capricorn, it's going to be firing up our ambition, okay? What it's helping us focus on is, you know, our long-term goals and working towards putting in some new long-term goals in place, okay? A new strategy, something completely different than we've done before, and actually getting down into the nitty-gritty and really putting that strategy in place. This, for a lot of us, is got to do with our work, our careers, how we, you know, contribute to society. So that is really going to be a major focus here. The thing here that is going to throw a wrench in it is that it's going to be stirring up some deep feelings. Why? This moon is going to be conjunct Pluto, okay? So this is almost the energy or the equivalent of moon being in Scorpio. This is deep, deep, deep emotional intensity. It stirs those deep feelings. Again, it addresses our obsession and our need for control and controlling how things play out and wanting to make sure things are happening a specific way, okay? So this is gonna help us address or dig up some of those deep rooted issues that we have around power and control and releasing control. What's happening at the time of this new moon? We have Jupiter, who's making an exact square to Uranus in Taurus, okay? And I talked about in the 2021 predictions video the squares that are going to be happening between Saturn and Uranus throughout 2021 and the tension that's going to cause. Now, let's talk about Jupiter, okay? What this means in terms of this energy is that there's going to be sudden changes in direction. So sudden, quick, unexpected changes that are just going to complete. It's almost like if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden your GPS just like say, okay, no, turn right, you know, and it's like, wait, just a minute ago it just said go straight. Now you're telling me to turn right. So it's going to be unexpected changes in direction like that. And a lot of people are not going to like that because, you know, we are humans who like predictability. We like to be able to understand what's happening. We like to, you know, so the quick changes are something that some of us don't like. A lot of us actually don't like because it takes you, you know, off guard, and you want to be able to, and it kind of goes back to our control issues and wanting to be able to predict and make things all play out a certain way, which is interesting that it's happening on the same day as the new moon, right? So this is definitely a time where we can see sudden changes, also in opportunities and your fortunes, which can be positive. Like I went back to the other thing, positive or negative, depending on how your response is and your mindset is around it, okay? So this is impatient energy. Again, back to that impatience. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of impatience. Impatience energy, so that means that this is a time for cautious expansion and careful thought before acting on anything, before taking any new risk, before initiating anything new, just making sure that you have careful thinking behind it, okay? Now, another thing that this is going to bring in is agitation, okay? Agitation around anything that feels restrictive, and that's going to also lend itself to that rebellious energy. So we got a lot of like agitation, rebelliousness that is on like the, you know, boiling underneath the surface, underneath that impatience and everything else that is going on. This is really the fight that I was talking about in that 2021 predictions video, the fight between restrictions and freedom, okay? And this kind of is setting up what's gonna happen next in February when we have our first exact square between Saturn and Uranus. That's going to be really more intense than what this is kind of like the opening act, okay? So we definitely want to make sure that we're just aware of everything that is happening at this time. So let me just round this all off with the crystal and the herb that I recommend you working with for the next 2 weeks or the rest of the Capricorn season. So the crystal that I'm going to recommend is Tiger's Eye, which helps bring mental clarity, which we're going to need for that clear thinking, focus, protection, personal power, grounding, courage, luck, and prosperity, okay? And the herb that I'm going to recommend is also going to bring in a lot of these same energies that this tiger's eye will bring in, and it's mullein. And mullein is great for focus, grounding, protection, and courage, which we will all need. So that is all that I have for you today. Leave a comment down below on, let's see, what can we talk about? Leave a comment down below on anything that you want to leave a comment down below on, because I don't have a particular question. Let me know like how Capricorn season's going for you. Are you excited for Aquarius season? Do you like me moving to this new format of the monthly reports? And what would you like to see in the monthly reports? I know I just asked a whole bunch of things right there when I said I had no questions, but hopefully this is very helpful to you, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.